Horses are some of the most beautiful animals on the planet, but they are also some of the sloppiest. They're very dirty. They get filthy from day to day. So I thought I'd make a video showing you how to bathe your horse. Everything from the supplies needed to the best techniques, whether it's your first time doing it or you just want to brush up on your bathing skills and techniques, this video is for you. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be going over how to bathe a horse. If you're a horse owner or even just somebody who takes lessons casually, this is something you're going to be an expert in. Just give it a year or two. But for those of us who need a refresher or we're brand new to this, let's get started. So first, you're going to need to brush your horse. If you want to see how to groom your horse, I can put a link in the video and you can go ahead and watch that whenever you like. So I'm just gonna briefly skim over that part. Quick brush. All right, we are all brushed. So now you have to gather your supplies, which consists of a bucket of lukewarm water, because you don't want to put hot or cold water on your horse, a sweat scraper, of course your shampoo, a body sponge, and a washing mitt. There's a couple different ways you can proceed. If your horse hates getting soaked with water or you're just spot cleaning, you can simply dip your sponge in the water and apply it to an area that the horse tolerates pretty readily, which usually is the shoulder area. So you start on the shoulder, talk calmly to your horse so they're assured that nothing exciting is happening, just a little spa session. You can work your way down the legs. For any spots that are stubborn, you can always add a little bit of shampoo. That's one way to do it, a little sponge bath, little spot cleaning. However, today's video is going to be going over how to properly bathe a horse. So, if you follow me, come on over to our hose. You'll notice we have hot and cold. And you're going to want to make sure that your nozzle is on misting. We're not going to water laser our horse. Just a nice little mist, and feel it with your hands and wrist to make sure it's a good temperature. So again, we're going for lukewarm. Even if they've just had a workout, lukewarm water is best. You don't want to do freezing cold or hot water. We're trying to bathe them, not shock them. So this is a good temperature. I'm actually going to go ahead and add just a titch of cold more. Okay, so once you have a temperature you're happy with, you're going to start low on the horse first to get them used to the water. Stand to the side at their shoulder and gradually work your way up. So I'm going over to the other leg so she knows what to expect. Same thing for the back leg. Okay. And I like to keep my hand near the water just so I can keep a constant gauge of how hot or cold it is. If you're in the country, which most barns are located in the country, your water can do some funky things. You can get bursts of hot, bursts of cold. Going around the front of the horse. Once you get towards their head and neck, tilt it downward so that we're not spraying them in the eyes. Good girl. And you lessen the pressure as well. Good girl. Now, if you're gonna wash their face, you would do the sponge bath method, where you dip it into warm water and spot clean. You don't ever wanna spray your horse in the face with water. Now to the other side. Same thing, starting low at the lower leg, working our way up. Spraying downward and with gentle pressure. Good girl. Now I'm going to also shampoo her mane. So I'm going to very gently spray it like so. The water trickling down is tickling her, I think. Good girl. We have to work with a wet canvas for this. Because I'm going near her ears, I'm going to apply even less pressure and even more gentleness. Being nice and ginger in this very sensitive area. Horses do not like water in their ears or near their eyes. Now she's saturated, except for her tail. That I do a specific way, I'll show you later. I'm gonna go ahead and get some shampoo on this girl. Loop up your hose in between so it's not a tripping hazard. Now you can either put the shampoo directly in your hand, like so. A little bit goes a long way, so I have like just a dollop of shampoo. Lather it up. You can just rub it in. A little horsey massage. So that's one way. The way I prefer to do it is with a little bit of warm water in my bucket. Get my bathing mitt nice and saturated and put a little bit of shampoo directly on. Then I like to rub it in a little bit to start the lather. And then just like you're currying, doing nice little gentle circles. And I think this method works really well because you're evenly administering the shampoo. If you have a dollop on your hand, you just go, it's going to be a concentrated bit of shampoo there. We don't want that. We want it to be nice and even. Dipping in the water as you go. If it's a particularly hot day, the water can evaporate pretty quickly. Gonna put a little more on. Making sure to do the areas in the undercarriage very gently. Some horses don't like being touched near this, which is called the gracilis muscle. So you can definitely avoid that if your horse won't tolerate it. Being careful around their flank area. They can be a little sensitive here. As you can imagine, there's probably 1,000 ways to do this. This is just one way to do it. Whatever works for you and your horse at the end of the day. Something else you can do, if your little heart so desires, you can fill up your bucket with water, add a dollop of shampoo, lather it up, get it nice and sudsy. You have a nice bucket of warm sudsy water. You can get the sponge nice and saturated, give it a light squeeze. You can sponge like this as well. Once your horse is fully shampooed, very important to rinse. We don't want any shampoo lingering, causing irritation on the skin. So we're gonna go ahead and rinse until the water, A, runs clear, and B, there's no suds in the water. Checking our water temperature. Starting from the bottom. Oh, look at that difference. Dirty, clean. Once they're used to the water being on them, you can go ahead and start from the top this time. Give a nice rinse. Now, as you do this, it's really important that you're scraping the water at the same time using our handy dandy sweat scraper. So there's a little squishy part here, this black part. You're gonna use that part, not this part, that's hard, that'll hurt your horse. The black part to the horse and applying firm but gentle pressure and one sweeping motion, sweeping that water off so that we're not trapping heat. Water is a really good blanket. And if it's a hot day, which it normally is when you're bathing your horse, you wanna get that off them ASAP. And you just repeat this process until all the water runs clear and there's no more shampoo-y bubbles. Everybody poops, everybody pees. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up. All that fly spray buildup. Okay, her body's rinsed pretty well at this point. Water's running clear, no sudsies. Good girl. No sudsies, huh? Shake it, shake it. So for the tail, I'm just gonna pull the tail to the side, and you're standing off to the side so that if your horse kicks, they're not gonna kick you. Now you can, obviously with a hose, spray your horse. Some horses are very sensitive to that and don't like their butt being sprayed by water. Very reasonable. One of the reasonable things about horses. So I like to just, with a bunch of shampoo in a bucket, Dip her tail in like so. And just kind of let it marinate, so to speak. Good girly. Now, luckily, her pasture's been pretty dry, so we haven't had to rinse a bunch of mud out. Her tail's actually pretty clean. Now that it's saturated with shampoo, I'm just gonna squeeze the water out, like so. Now I'm gonna go ahead and rinse with the hose. I'm not spraying her booty with it. I'm gonna pull it to the side, working from the bottom, and spraying lightly. And again, looking for sudsy water. I don't apply an awful lot amount to her tail, so just a few passes of this and we should be good. All right. I'm gonna squeeze her tail out so it's not sopping. Okay. Last part, her mane. Same technique. Get a nice sudsy sponge. Gonna apply it to her mane. Good girl. Good girl. We have to get all that dye out of your hair, friend. It's lingering. Good girl. There we go. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Gonna squeeze the water out. The hardest part of this whole process might be rolling up the hose. Turning your water off. Final squeegee. Let's say we were gonna shampoo, say she has like a spot on her forehead. Just dip your sponge in your soapy water. Squeeze it out really good. We don't want this going in her eye. Introduce it to her so she's not shocked at what I'm about to do. Make sure she's not scared of the sponge. And you would wipe it like that. Good girl. Then you dip your water, get clear water, and apply a little bit of that water to the front of her. One last thing you can do, applying some detangler if you feel like it. Just make sure you're reading the label because some products, they have to be applied to a dry horse. Some it doesn't matter. Some they can be damp but not sopping wet. So just make sure you're reading your label. You survived, huh? She's probably gonna shake once we get out there. So I don't know if you want a horsey shower. You might want to stand off to the side. Okay, close up.
Oh no.
Look at her. This is why half of my life consists of bathing this damn horse. That is what horses do, though. That's how they dry themselves off, unfortunately, is rolling in the dirt. So that is how you bathe a horse. At least the way I do it. You ask 1,000 different people, they'll give you 1,000 different answers. Hope you enjoyed this video. As you can see, your horse is probably gonna roll. It's just a way to dry. They're not trying to annoy you. All the dirt's gonna absorb extra moisture. In the wintertime, be mindful of bathing your horse. You're probably gonna have to use what's called a cooler, which is just a fleecy blanket you put on your horse and it wicks the moisture away so that you're not sending out a wet, sweaty horse to the field. So a cooler is something you might also need when bathing your horse, depending on the weather, workload, your horse's physical condition, all those things. If you wish to avoid having your horse roll in the dirt, there's a couple things you can do. Putting a cooler on your horse for a few minutes to wick the moisture away before you turn him out into the pasture. You can also take towels and towel dry, or if you're fortunate enough to have access to a solarium, which is basically just an overhead that warms the horse's back and it can help dry them off too. Those work great. You can implement those drying methods to avoid that little crap show. Saoirse just rolled in the mud right after I bathed her. Tips and tricks. You learn as you go. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. What did I miss? What do you do differently? Let me know. Thanks very much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.